Wow, I'm excited. Finally getting to do this. I've been wanting to do this for so long, so damn long. Um, it's for pilot episode of Prolly Controversial. Um, I finally got this up and going after thinking about it for a long time, trying to maybe get co-hosts, but lot tried with various people to co-host, but it just doesn't work out with, just the time time zone differential. I live in Arizona. Most of my friends live in the Midwest. Didn't work out because of different uh, hobbies, different things people wanted to do. But I've always wanted to do this because all I do is talk, and I mean, if you know me, I don't stop fucking talking. I will talk your ear off about just about anything, even if I don't know a damn thing about the topic. I'll try to give my best input and get an understanding and maybe gauge your aspect and maybe even switch up how you think. Um, so, um, yeah. So we're just going to get into it. Probably controversial. I'm going to talk about topics that most people don't want to talk about for about 30 minutes. I'm going to talk about topics that most people don't talk about because they don't want to hear about it and they don't want to hear people's point of views. I understand that they're controversial for a reason, and I just want. I feel like some people just need to be more well informed about certain aspects of life, whether it be politics or whether it just be a hobby like sports. I'm just like I'll talk about a bunch of different things. But the main two things I'll talk about are politics and sports. Those are my main two favorite things to talk about. They're my two favorite talking points. I think I know a considerable amount about both of them. So that's why I enjoy them. Maybe not as much politics. More of a sports guy for sure. Sports business major, and finance. But definitely feel like I have some input into politics that people could listen to and maybe learn a thing or two from. So just based on this, all that, just let's get right into it. I'm excited. Never hosted solo. It's kind of weird just talking to yourself, but I'm hoping more viewers, more people listen. Maybe reach out. Maybe have some guests on the show and talk about some things and get their takes. I grew up watching a lot of First Take. People hate Stephen A. I love Stephen A. Max Kellerman's terrible, but Stephen A. His character. And I've always wanted to be controversial. I always feel like I've had controversial points, but I feel like I make sense. I feel like they're well thought out talking points, well thought out facts, well thought out evidence. So with that, let's just dive right in. I just want to, just dive into politics right away. Obviously, just dive into the most controversial things going on right now in our lives. I follow Bernie Sanders on Twitter, and he's been raving about minimum wage. Guy can't keep his thumbs out off the phone. It's going to hurt his eyesight. But if he's passionate, he's passionate. If you want to voice your opinion, you got to find a way somehow. And that's why Bernie connects with a lot of the younger audience. But I just to throw that out there right away. When it comes to politics, I'm willing to openly say that I'm a liberal. Maybe even way far left off the spectrum to the point where I could be a socialist. But that's just in different aspects. It doesn't mean I believe in everything liberals believe in. I'm a huge Bernie supporter. I supported Bernie in a lot of his campaigns, and I wanted Bernie to be the Democratic nominee. I'm not upset that Joe Biden was. I think that Joe Biden's going to have a good tenure while he's in office. But yeah, I mean, I'm open. When it comes to politics, I'm not willing to step down. I'm willing to say what I believe in. I'm willing because that's just who I am. I'm open. I'm an open book. And so just with that being said, just like I've been reading about a lot about this minimum wage, and seeing that Bernie just wants to absolutely just ruin the market. He wants to double the federal minimum wage from $7.50 to 15, and for some reason all the Democrats vote yes, and all the Republicans vote no. Again, I'm a 20-year-old college student. Maybe there's something I don't understand, but from what I've learned from just a basic microeconomics class is that raising the minimum wage especially by this much, will negatively affect the market and just America in a astronomical way. Obviously, when you raise the minimum wage, unless you're federally funding these businesses that have to pay their employees, which I'm guessing they won't, because already trillions of dollars in debt. Let's just, I mean, unless they're thinking F it, let's go to more debt. I really don't, I don't think that that's the case. But you simply can't double minimum wage and expect people to keep their jobs and not expect the price of goods to go up, and just it's basic supply and demand and price floors and price. It's like, well, you can't double it. It'll raise the price of goods. Unemployment rate will go up. It doesn't mean that that's going to be the living wage. It's not like nothing's going to change once you change the minimum wage. You have to raise the price of goods so that businesses can stay afloat. You have to how can businesses pay their employees when now their wages are doubled? That means that people are going to have to get laid off, which means that more people can't support families than there already are. It's a domino effect that's pretty basic in my eyes. I don't see how the Democrats can think that this won't change. It just changes everything. It simply can't work. And I mean, again, I'm a 20-year-old college student. What the hell do I know, right? But basic microeconomics, that it won't work. I mean, that's a 5-minute rundown of why it simply just won't work. Plain and simple, done deal, sign it. It won't work. So just drop it. But at the end of the day, there is a compromise. I feel like that can be reached. I don't feel like you need to double it. I feel like that in order to get some Republican votes, you can just work towards progress and raise the price. There has to be numbers that have to be broken down. You have to get some of the best people in data and analytics to dumb this down and take samples. And this is statistics. It's taking samples and realizing what businesses can and can't pay. So I mean, the main thing is that you can compromise. Maybe 9, 10. Maybe I don't know. I'm not. I haven't done the numbers. I haven't ran the numbers, but I'm saying that I'm not saying I completely disagree. I just feel like you can't raise it to 15. It's not possible. But you can progressively work towards a better living wage. 15 will just affect the class, just the class setting of what it is to be impoverished, what it is to be rich, what it is to be middle class, upper middle class, so on and so forth. So at that point, there's more to it than just saying, oh, we need to double it so that these people can support their families. There's other people that have to support their families, but they're going to lose their job because you're doubling minimum wages. So there's a compromise that can be reached where we can get the most amount of work for a considerable living wage. That's better than the $7.50 prior that people can't live on. I agree, you can't live on $7.50, but you can't flip burgers for 15 either. It's not fair to other people that have honest jobs, that went to work that went to school for 4 years, they're in a bachelor's and even master's and doctor. You can't reward people like that. I'm not saying that people that flip burgers aren't on. It's not an honest job. I mean, it's not it's not a job that people have put in years of work for to get to. So controversial as it may be, it's not fair at the end of the day. I mean, there's a difference between equality and equity, and at that point, it's just it's a question of equity at the end of the day. It's just gotta be fair. So yeah, I mean, that's just a basic rundown of. I mean, that's basic economics, and I broke that all down to 5 minutes. I mean, I wish they would have let me talk on the floor, and maybe the Democrats would realize, oh, we can't do this, but we can, work towards something that could make progress for everyone. So, I mean, that's just basic. But just moving on. Another thing that came up, just another basic microeconomics thing. It's a basic econ subject. Is just the gender pay gap, and this is gonna be controversial because people are gonna think, oh, you just don't believe in equality for women or something like that. I don't know. I agree with what I want equality for all, race, gender, sex, whatever, just everything. sexual orientation, whatever. I mean, equality for all. I'm not saying that, I don't agree with I feel like women are mistreated, but I feel like at the same point it's not, it's no one's fault, but it's just well, there is a fault, but it's just gender roles. That's the supreme fault that you can place everything on. Because with gender roles, you place women in a position where they're that's just a science, but I mean, they get pregnant, so they don't work as much as men at that point. Then there's the gender role where the man is the one supporting the house and the woman is the one at home taking care of the kid. So then at that point, when you analyze people, the amount of women getting paid and the amount of men getting paid, then you have to take into effect, well, the amount of people working to support families, and while the gender role of the woman's at home, also obviously more men are working. So at that point, you have to realize that there is no gender pay gap. There's just gender roles that have an overall effect on the overall salaries of women compared to men. One in this, I mean, even in a Harvard study, look it up. Men were more likely to take the overtime hours. Men were more likely to take, the extra shifts, And I'm not saying it's because women are lazy or anything. I'm just saying it's just based on statistics that men were more likely. It's based on a study that men were more likely to do this and that. And I mean that it's just, at the end of the day, you can't say that women and men are paid the same. They are, because this was a job. The study was based on a job where men and women were paid the same, and but they just didn't. They worked different hours for different reasons. So at the end of the day, you can't go out there and say, oh, equal pay for women. There's no gender pay gap. It's just the amount of men that work and the amount of hours they work in comparison to the amount of women that work and the amount of hours women work. So it's a basic ratio that people fail to understand. As controversial as this topic may be, and you may disagree with me. If you do, if you have a point to be made, bring it up. I'm willing to gauge this, but from what I believe, from what I understand, there is no gender pay gap. It's just breaking it. If you break it down fundamentally, it's no one's fault. It's just the fault of gender roles that have negatively affected this gap in overall salaries that we see between the two sexes. Although there are some things that that women, get traded. They don't get treated as fairly as men in the workplace. That's a different talk for a different day. But I do agree with that. I feel like women are mistreated in comparison to men in many different aspects. But I don't feel it's fair that you can say that there's a gender pay gap, because if you do the numbers, if you look at the studies, it's not a thing. It's a falsity. Just look at the studies. As this woman out there that may listen, this may sound controversial, but look at the hard facts. It's no one's fault but gender roles. No one's fault but gender roles. And this political point, I've just been really sick of looking at the news, and then there's a shooting every day. There's a shooting. There's more than one shooting every day. Today I looked up shooting. I just looked up the word shooting in Google search, and 3 titles came up, and within 7 hours, there were three shootings in 3 different places. Within the hour, there was a shooting in Maryland. So I mean, with that, this is controversial because this is going to negative. I mean, people are going to disagree with me, make many points, many different points, but there's a fine line, I feel like, between owning a gun for protection and owning a gun just because it's fun to own this gun. But at the end of the day, it's unsafe to own these type of guns. So breaking it down, there's no reason to have an AR. There's no reason to have an assault rifle in a home. Why would anyone need an assault rifle? You know, there we go. Okay, we're back. But yeah, bottom line, and And I feel like if you're gonna own a gun protection, it should be like a handgun, or at the very most, a gun you use for sport, for maybe like deer hunting. I'm not saying take the guns away from the hunters, because it's a sport. It's a sport based from tradition. You can't take that away from people. You can't take tradition away from people. But there's no reason for people to have ARs at any point. ARs, sniper rifles, anything. Just guns. And then a different spectrum, there's background checks. Why is it so easy for some people to buy these guns that have, led to mass shootings, Sandy Hook, Columbine, etc. Just is it so easy to access these ARs? And the school shootings wouldn't happen, not necessarily they wouldn't happen, but they'd be less likely of a thing if ARs were not as easily as accessible as they are in the United States. They shouldn't be for sale on the market. Why are they on the market? What like why isn't it a marketable item to buy an AR-15? That doesn't make sense. What do you need that for? It's not a need, it's a want, and it's just something for people to show off. And it's not necessary. It's not necessary for any person at all. Guns are necessary for protection, but if someone breaks in, you have a gun on your bedside. I understand that. But for people to own AR-15s, just to own AR-15s that have led to mass shootings, Sandy Hook, Columbine, besides school shootings, the one where in the grocery store in Colorado, whatever. There's no point in that. But there is a fine line we can draw between, you can't take away people's right to bear arms, right? So don't take it away. Give them the right to own protection. But don't give them the right to own an AR-15. There's no need for it. There's absolutely no need for it. So that's just a quick, plain, simple, done deal. Sign it over, give it to them. It's only a military. It's only to be used in the military. I don't know why it's so easy for some people to get their hands on such guns. America, do your job. That's it, plain and simple. Do your job. Do your job. Now, just the fun part. Finally, getting the fun part. Sports guy, sports business major, Arizona State University. And sports up. So baseball opening day was a week ago, and a lot of speculation brought up whether baseball teams should have a salary cap like the NBA does, and a lot of other sports organizations. But here's my thing: when you break down baseball to its fundamental, to its foundings, the fun of baseball is a rivalry between one city and another, and the rivalry of that is to build a team that will build revenue, that will build cap for you to buy other players and make your fan base more exciting. That's why it's exciting to be like fans of that's why many people are fans of the Yankees, because they've been able to build up this reputation, this fan base. That's the tradition of baseball with not having a salary cap, is that your team is your city, and your city gets behind the players, and they build revenue for your team, so that your team can get. So here's my break. When you put a salary cap on a team, I feel like it gets rid of that original fun of baseball that it was founded upon. I feel like if you take money away, you put a cap on how much money the Boston Red Sox can spend, then then what are they built towards? What is the franchise they built up till then? Do you just discredit that because they didn't have a salary cap? The point of baseball is to root for your city, and you just build a franchise based on building revenue. That's the fun about I found that would be fun about sports business, is that you're a part of something. You're part of building a brand. You're part of building a franchise. You're part of building up a team. You're part of building up something that people can get behind, and people get behind you at that point. So I feel like that being said, I feel like there's a salary cap would just ruin the tradition of baseball, just because it just ruins. I feel like it gets rid of the competitive nature that has been built through tradition. Maybe that's just because I was sports, is that too nerdy for sports? But I mean, if you think about it in that manner, it makes sense. It makes if you think about it in that manner, it makes watching the game more fun. It makes it more fun because, example, I'm from Chicago. I'm a Chicago Cubs fan. I have a lot of friends from San Diego. They're San Diego Padres fan. They have a 3-game series, city for city. You and your friends, competitive. It's fun. That's the fun of, you know, being a fan of something is being competitive with other people that you get to know from other cities, and it makes it even more fun because then you see this competitive nature, and then you shoot the shit, bullshit, and you talk about your team, this team, what you've done in history, what you've been able to do, what your plans are for the future, etc. So just breaking it down from that point. Another thing about baseball is the DH, and I don't know why you can talk about it and nothing's done. Get rid of pitchers pitching. Nobody wants to watch it. Yes, that might be a tradition, but it's a negative tradition because no one wants to see a shitty pitcher be automatic. It's an automatic out every time. Unless you have faith in your pitcher to hit every time, which I don't think any manager has. Nobody wants to see a pitcher pitch because it's an automatic out. It gets bottom of the ninth. You always or bottom eighth. You always see bottom of the eighth. You see a pinch hitter come in because they have to take out their pitcher because they're winning the game. Wouldn't it just add to kind of nature if you were able to have DH in that form and the pitcher can continue to pitch? It's plain and simple. Nobody bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, bases loaded. Nobody wants to see the pitcher hit, but they want to see the pitcher still stay in the mound in case they don't get the game-winning run. So, plain and simple is get rid of pitchers hitting. No one wants to see it. It's the most boring aspect of baseball. Yeah, it's cool when Bartolo Colon hits a home run with a 420-foot bomb into right center field. But end of the day, when it comes to watching the NL play the AL, you want to see, you want to see, an actual hitter in the box. Let the pitchers pitch and the hitters hit. Pay the hitters for hitting, pay the pitchers for pitching. That's how it works. That's how baseball is. Pay them for what they're good at, rather than forcing people to watch something they don't want to watch. It's boring. You add so much more fun to the sport if you just add that extra hitter that everyone gets. It's fair, equity. I don't know if I'm using that word right. It could be equality, whatever means fair. Fair. It's fair. It's fair for everyone. It's more exciting for the game. You get to see the pitchers pitch more, and you get to see the hitters hit more. Get rid of pitchers pitching at DH, make it universal. And so just the last thing, close up the show. We got try to make it 30 minutes, but might be a little short. But Roy Williams announced his retirement. That was awesome. I was a UNC fan growing up. I would have liked to see Roy end on top, something really cool. But I think he's understanding that, college basketball is heading a very different way right now. HBCUs are on the rise. Kentucky and Duke didn't even make the tournament this year. UNC got bounced in the first round, first time in Roy Williams' career. So that's why I hated to see Roy go out like that. But he had a fantastic career as a coach, many national titles. But the main problem I had was with who they hired next. So that was a UNC fan growing up. Yeah, this guy's been in the program, whatever. Hubert Davis, I think his name is. I don't know. Hubert Davis, I think his name is. Never even heard of the guy, but I guess he was one of these coaches. So had to take an unexpected call, but podcast goes on. So yeah, the Hubert Davis guy gets hired. Don't know who the hell he is. What I was hoping for was, something cool like what Michigan did when they hired, Juwan Howard from the Fab Five, and now Michigan made a Final Four. That's cool. That builds a fan base. That builds up Michigan's rep, and they've gotten better recruits because of it. Now I feel as if UNC doesn't have the potential to be that team anymore, to be good. As a basketball fan, as a old post UNC fan, I would like to see them continue to be good, and I thought it'd be cool to have coach, like Vince Carter, Antoine Jameson, someone from the old UNC, one of the old UNC teams that would just make it, a cool to be UNC fan, not some guy. Maybe he will be a good coach. Maybe he's just, I'm just not cultured about it. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know why we couldn't have went a different direction. But shout out Roy Williams, fantastic career. It was awesome to see him coach what I did. Was just watching coach, like Vince Carter or like Tyler Hansborough, those dope ass UNC teams. A little too young for that, but I did. I grew up. I was a huge Joel Berry, Marcus Page, Bryce Johnson, that team. Huge fan of that team. Got behind that entire team. That was a terrible loss at the end. Heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, but it's awesome to see that team play. But shout out Roy Williams, fantastic career, and hope he enjoys retirement. And I'm hoping UNC, maybe stupid, maybe this guy's a fantastic coach. I don't know about. But I thought it would have been cool, to see the Juwan Howard route. Maybe see like an old UNC player, at Michael Jordan, who knows? At least get post something, speculation saying that Michael Jordan interview for UNC head coaching job. That'd be awesome to see. That would get people raving, and the UNC fan base would rave. I'd even rave. I'm not even there. I'm an full ASU guy now, but yeah. So yeah, we're hitting our time. That was episode 1 of the pilot. If you guys have any suggestions, what you want to hear, some topics you want to hear me talk about, let me know. Also, I'm looking for guest hosts or guest speakers on the show. I like to hear other people talk besides me. I like to, gauge other people's, thought processes, what they think of certain aspects. I like to hear what they have to say. I like when basically, I try to get the best people to speak on with me, that are compatible, because I like, I'll pick someone based on what I feel like they're best at talking about, based on the topics I'm going to be talking about that week. So yeah, awesome. Thanks guys. I hope you enjoy it. Just drop some feedback, drop in the comments below. Anything. Thanks guys.